Perfect Peter is evil. Henry, use your fork, said Dad.
I'm using my fork, said Peter. Henry, sit down, said Mum. I'm sitting down, said Peter.
Henry, stop spitting, said Dad.
I'm not spitting, said Peter. Henry, chew with your mouth shut, said Mum. I'm chewing with my mouth shut, said Peter.
Henry, don't make a mess, said Dad.
I'm not making a mess, said Peter.
What? said Mum. Perfect Peter was not having a perfect day. Mum and Dad are too busy yelling at Henry all the time to notice how good I am, thought Peter. When was the last time Mum and Dad had said, Marvellous, Peter, you're using your fork. Wonderful, Peter, you're sitting down. Superb, Peter, you're not spitting. Fabulous, Peter, you're chewing with your mouth shut. Perfect, Peter, you never make a mess. Perfect Peter dragged himself upstairs. Everyone just expects me to be perfect, thought Peter as he wrote his Aunt Agnes a thank you note for the super thermal vest. It's not fair. From downstairs came the sound of raised voices. Henry, get your muddy shoes off the sofa, yelled Dad. Henry, stop being so horrid, yelled Mum. Then Perfect Peter started to think. What if I were horrid, thought Peter. Peter's mouth dropped open. What a horrid thought! He looked around quickly to see if anyone had noticed. He was alone in his immaculate bedroom. No one would ever know he'd thought such a terrible thing. But imagine being horrid. No, that would never do. Peter finished his letter, read a few pages of his favourite magazine, Best Boy, got into bed and turned off his light without being asked. Imagine being horrid.
What if I were horrid, thought Peter. I wonder what would happen.
When Peter woke up the next morning, he did not dash downstairs to get breakfast ready. Instead, he lazed in bed for an extra 5 minutes. When he finally got out of bed, Peter did not straighten his duvet, nor did Peter plump his pillows. Instead, Peter looked at his tidy bedroom and had a very wicked thought. Instantly, before he could change his mind, he took off his pyjama top and did not fold it neatly. Instead, he dropped it on the floor. Mum came in.
Good morning, darling. You must be tired sleeping in.
Peter hoped Mum would notice his untidy room.
Notice anything, Mum?
said Peter. Mum looked around. No, said Mum.
Oh, said Peter.
What? said Mum.
I haven't made my bed, said Peter.
Clever of you to remember it's wash day, said Mum. She stripped the sheets and duvet cover, then swooped and picked up Peter's pyjama top. Thank you, dear, said Mum. She smiled and left. Peter frowned. Clearly he would need to work harder at being horrid. He looked at his beautifully arranged books. No! he gasped as a dreadful thought sneaked into his head. Then Peter squared his shoulders. Today was his horrid day, and horrid he would be. He went up to his books and knocked them over. Henry, bellowed Dad, get up this minute. Henry slumped past Peter's door. Peter decided he would call Henry a horrid name.
Hello, ugly,
said Peter. Then he went wild and stuck out his tongue. Henry marched into Peter's bedroom. He glared at Peter. What did you call me? said Henry. Peter screamed. Mum ran into the room. Stop being horrid, Henry. Look what a mess you made in here. He called me ugly, said Henry. Of course he didn't, said Mum. He did too, said Henry. Peter never calls people names, said Mum. Now pick up those books you knocked over. I didn't knock them over, said Henry. Well, who did then? The man in the moon, said Mum. Henry pointed at Peter. He did, said Henry. Did you, Peter? asked Mum. Peter wanted to be really, really horrid and tell a lie, but he couldn't.
I did it, Mum, said Peter.
Boy, would he get told off now. Don't be silly. Of course you didn't, said Mum. You're just saying that to protect Henry. Mum smiled at Peter and frowned at Henry. Now leave Peter alone and get dressed, said Mum. But it's the weekend, said Henry. So, said Mum, but Peter's not dressed. I'm sure he was just about to get dressed before you barged in, said Mum. See, he's already taken his pyjama top off.
I don't want to get dressed, said Peter boldly.
You poor boy, said Mum. You must be feeling ill. Pop back into bed and I'll bring your breakfast up. Just let me put some clean sheets on. Perfect Peter scowled a tiny scowl. Clearly he wasn't very good at being horrid yet. He would have to try harder. At lunch, Peter ate pasta with his fingers. No one noticed. Then Henry scooped up pasta with both fists and slapped some into his mouth. Henry, use your fork, said Dad. Peter spat into his plate. Peter, are you choking? Said Dad. Henry spat across the table. Henry, stop that disgusting spitting this instant, said Mum. Peter chewed with his mouth open. Peter, is there something wrong with your teeth? Asked Mum. Henry chomped and dribbled and gulped with his mouth as wide open as possible. Henry, this is your last warning. Keep your mouth shut when you eat, shouted Dad. Peter did not understand. Why didn't anyone notice how horrid he was? He stretched out his foot and kicked Henry under the table. Henry kicked him back harder. Peter shrieked. Henry got told off. Peter got dessert. Perfect Peter did not know what to do. No matter how hard he tried to be horrid, nothing seemed to work. Now, boys, said Mum, Grandma is coming for tea this afternoon. Please keep the house tidy and leave the chocolates alone. What chocolates? Said Henry. Never you mind, said Mum. You'll have some when Grandma gets here. Then Peter had a truly stupendously horrid idea. He left the table without waiting to be excused and sneaked into the sitting room.